if you have children that are venting to you and telling you everything that you've done wrong, even though you're sitting there going, that is not the way that happened. But to say, I'm so sorry that I did that. I'm so sorry I communicated to you in that way and that hurt you.
No. This is going to make the relationship worse over time. Let me show you why and what to do instead. This is what we would call a behaviorally intelligent response. This is something that obviously sounds good, and it's obvious that this person wants a relationship with their kid. They want to do the right thing, and they want to behave and say things in a way that is helpful and loving. The problem with this is that it's very one-dimensional, because what is actually happening here is a whole other thing under the surface that this parent is not acknowledging. When we look at the video, she says, when your kid is venting to you about everything you did wrong, and in your mind, you're saying, that's not the way that happened. What is happening here is there is a stimulus, and then there is an automatic behavior. So thoughts that are happening, emotions that are happening, unmet needs and desires that are happening. But instead of going here, she's going right to behavior. She's noticing what's happening in her mind, but she's going right to, I'm sorry you feel that way, basically. Now, how a lot of people would characterize this experience or this behavior is emotionally immature, because it's neglectful of what's happening in this woman's experience. To me, it shows, one, a lack of boundaries, because this woman does not understand that in any situation there are two truths. There's not one, there's two. There is the experience of her child and her own experience. She does not have the authority and ultimate say of what the truth is of that interaction. And because she doesn't understand this boundary and this separateness, she can't be curious and she can't be compassionate, because in her mind, as the parent, she believes in kind of this ultimate truth. So to me, that's the number one thing it shows. Number two, in wanting to respond in this way, her desire is obviously to help her child feel better about all of the things that they've experienced. Like, it's obvious that she cares for her child. It's obvious that she doesn't really know what to do. So she's just like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. So again, purely a behavioral response. What I want to point out to you, number three, is what this is actually categorized as is what's called a fawn response. Y'all have probably heard of fight, flight, freeze. You know, we understand all those. But then there's fawn. That's the fourth response. And what fawning is kind of saying something purely for the sake of that other person, purely to make them feel better. You're totally neglecting your inner experience and shutting yourself down on the inside, purely for the sake of the relationship, for this other person's feelings, etc. The issue is that when kids grow up in families like this, where you only behave based on responding to a stimulus in kind of a one-dimensional way, you're not really understanding yourself. You're not really growing, learning. You're not really feeling secure enough to explore their experience while being centered in your own. And so what I teach people to do every single day, and my name's Kate, by the way, I'm a marriage and family therapist. I help people restore their relationships, and I teach people my BEND method to do it. It's basically an order of operations for when there's a stimulus, when something's happening, when you have an automatic response, like a stress response. So either you fawn, you're just like, okay, I'm so sorry, you're right. Or you fight, or you're just defensive, and you're like, that's not how it happened. Or, you leave, you're just like, I'm not even doing this right now. Like, you're doing this drama again. Like, where you have this automatic shut down stress response. I want to help you explore your experience there so that you can choose to do something different that actually aligns big picture with not just what you want in the relationship, but what you actually need and feel. So here's the bottom line here, is when you're having an automatic behavior, there is emotion behind it. In this video, I would say that she might be feeling angry. She might be feeling threatened. She might be feeling scared when her child says something like that. A lot of thoughts might come in her head. She might be feeling shame, like, oh my gosh, I'm a bad parent because they're feeling this way. What is behind these automatic behaviors are emotions. And that's what a lot of people do not understand. Emotions are energy in motion. They are the fuel, they are the energy behind these behaviors. They reflect needs and desires. And what we need to do when we have an emotional experience is explore what we need and what we want. And we obviously want to be appropriate to the role that we're playing. So like this situation is going to look very different with a spouse than with a child. The ultimate idea here is for people to really understand what's going on inside them, be mindful, and most importantly, be self-compassionate. There's not a lot of research in psychology that is like tried and true, but self-compassion is actually one of those things that in like every study where it's been done, it showed the highest quality of life. People that have the most self-compassion have the best quality of life, the best relationships, the most success in their work, the most fulfillment, the most life satisfaction. Like Google it. This is the deal here. And the goal as a parent is to get your needs met so that you can hold space and be secure in yourself when your kid is saying something real to them, and you can actually respond in a curious and compassionate way so that they feel heard and you in the leadership role that you are. The biggest thing to understand about this is that your emotions don't necessarily come from your child. They probably started earlier in life. Like say your child is saying that you did something and they were really hurt by it and it's really messed up and they really need you to understand that. And you have this automatic response of either fawning, which is basically faking. That's what it is. And again, we learn this behavior in childhood. We learn that we have to respond in a certain way for this other person. We learn that from our own parents. You are not getting that from your kid. And you most likely do this in a lot of your other relationships. It's not just with them. And so to actually practice the bend method and master it, unless like in relationships where the stakes are lower than maybe if you have a disconnected relationship with your kid, you will notice that you are able to change your behavior and it aligns with meeting your needs, honoring your emotions, and actually connecting with other people. Because that's the goal here. It's for you to get connected in your life, but especially with your kid. And you need to master the bend method to get there.